For me, depression and anxiety are like abscesses on my soul that I'm slowly healing with love. It was the second time within 2 weeks that I sat across from my worst nightmare, the future that I was most likely to live into based on my current life trajectory. I was sitting across from a gentleman, an old white guy, overweight, depressed, using insulin to manage type 2 diabetes. This is one of my closest male relatives and the most likely face of the future that my actions were creating for me. In this video, I'm going to show you how I've been able to start breathing again, to start taking actions, but not only actions, the right actions for me in my life, like this video. This video has been on my to-do list and had been conjuring in my head for over 7 years. Now, it's real out in the world, hopefully helping someone. What I want you to take away from this video is the knowledge that every day I am faced with and confront depression and anxiety, but finally have figured out a way for me, which I hope will work for you, to take actions anyway, to get things done. And what I've found is the results are quite remarkable, not only in the real world, but on my inner world. I will share with you the 3 things that got me off the couch, out of my head, and taking right actions. And I guess the most important thing for me to share with you is this, that finally my actions have me on my right path, walking the straight and narrow towards the destinations I'm choosing, and avoiding the ditches on either side of my path, one called depression, the other called anxiety, that every time I would start down the middle path, I would either end up in the ditch of depression, or I'd start to get out of the ditch of depression and then cross right over my path back into anxiety. So now I'm able to kind of bounce between those 2 ditches and make progress towards the destination of my choice. Hi, I'm T.S. Hall, the Stoic Medium, a spiritual teacher who teaches old souls how to start taking charge of their lives with simple spiritual practices that have worked since the beginning of time. Before I share with you what I found to work for me, I want to remind you that I'm not a medical doctor. I'm a spiritualist minister. I'm a spiritual healer. I work on opening the spiritual eyes of your soul, not medical conditions. So what I'm going to show you today works in conjunction with, but does not replace, a medical treatment plan. So consult a physician, get yourself diagnosed, and start taking care of the physical symptoms. And what I will share with you today will help you start to heal from the inside so you can treat the ontological and spiritual symptoms and the causes, at least for me, of my depression and anxiety. Fair enough? Cool. So after coming face to face with exactly my worst nightmare, I finally understood karma. You know, I've always had the answer for the last 30 years that karma is cause and effect. Karma is simple causation. You reap what you sow. And having seen the results of what my closest male relatives had sown throughout their lives, and seeing the face of their depression, ended up being a mirror that allowed me to see my own depression. I realized that karma plays no favorites. It simply and dutifully allows to come to fruition whatever is planted with the intention that it's planted. bingo, bam. I finally understood karma. More importantly, I understood how I had been taking certain actions that gave me results that I didn't really want. But my depression kept me from taking different actions to create the results I did want. You see, I had all the training. I had the intellect. I had the answers, if you will. But none of that was making any difference. It was making difference for those that I ministered to and I trained and I developed and I coached. But it had not made any difference to me in the things that were important to me. It was in this drive home that I realized that my mom may have been right, that I was a very smart person, very intellectual, very intelligent, but not very bright in the area of common sense. So in that moment of me trying to reconcile intelligence with common sense, I saw that I created this world and this swirl in my head going between an experience of depression and an experience of anxiety, which kept me stuck and not moving towards the things I said I wanted in my life, but rather I was always trying to help others. And through my helping others, eventually, hopefully some of it would rub off on me and I would get what I want. I would be rewarded for my good works. But it was looking into the face of my future, as Thoreau described it, the face of quiet desperation, that allowed me to finally understand that I had done really well at one part of this 3-part process, but I had not mastered part 2 or part 3. And it's part 3 that gets the results you want. Yet again, I was there. The moment of insight, the moment of understanding exactly why my life was the way it was and why it was not working the way I wanted to. So that moment of insight is where I had mastered and perfected getting to over a lifetime of spiritual practice. But it's the next step that had always eluded me. And how do I know? Because I was not happy with my weight. I was not happy with the condition of my life and my ability to help others the way I want to, because I was not happy with myself. So what would be different this time? That was the $1 million question. So I'd been at this crossroads countless times before. I had diagnosed every little thing in my life. I understood exactly why everything happened. I understood why from an intellectual point of view. But would I finally get the common sense to come out of the rain and take that next step? And the answer was sitting in the truck right next to me is my wife. My wife, Amy, for 15 years now, was there. And she's a saint. She's my earth angel. And it was her years of loving acceptance, allowing me to go through my process and tolerating my depression and me being basically a miserable SOB, that allowed me to do the healing work I needed to be at this crossroads and finally do something different. And that's what this video is about. So in the grace of her love and her presence, I realized that depression had been my constant companion. It was chronic, not clinical. It was not a chemical imbalance in my brain, but it was more of a way of looking at life. As the miles ticked by on our journey west through northern Arkansas, the hills were green, they were beautiful. We passed small farms, we passed small towns, drove through them, and an occasional wild turkey or deer on the side of the road. And in this serenity of the greenery and the miles going west with a person who loved me unconditionally by my side, I began reflecting on my life, my unfulfilled dreams. I started to notice exactly how resentful I was for being really good at helping other people and helping organizations grow, but never feeling like I had help myself, feeling powerless to change anything in my life. I was not happy with the way my body looked or felt. I was not happy with the results I was producing in my ministry. I was helping a few, when I knew that what I was understanding and experiencing had helped me so much. I confronted all the projects I had started, but never completed. I'm a great starter. I would start strong, go fast, then burn out, and stop. Another incomplete project, another partially finished book, another script for a video. Incomplete, never seeing the light of day, never fully being planted so it could then create a life of its own and come to fruition. I'm not sure quite how many miles ticked by on the odometer as I was in this reverie about the misgivings of my life and reflecting on things and truly accepting the fact that what I was doing in life didn't work. It didn't work because I wasn't happy. I didn't like the person I saw in the mirror every morning. I had a beautiful woman who loved me unconditionally and accepted me and reminded me of the contribution I made to others. And that contribution I made to others only seemed to reinforce my opinion about myself, that I was hopeless. And what I realized during this time, trying to reconcile my life and the path to where I was going, which was going to end up being just like my closest male relatives. I had met, again, reminder, I had met 2 of them within the course of a week, overweight, depressed, and on insulin. And my actions were taking me exactly to that destination. I realized in that moment, after accepting I was depressed, that I was really good at using meditation to medicate the symptoms of my depression and anxiety. But I had not taken the next steps in the process beyond just the meditation and the relief I found in the control of my mind and being able to calm my emotions. But I had never gotten beyond that. It was somewhere along this road, I turned a corner, and as I turned a corner, the proverbial light of the sun came through the clouds, and there were radiant beams of light, and wah! I realized that what I had been doing is ignoring these abscesses in my soul, which were unhealed traumas that were the source of my lack of energy, the source of my overthinking everything, the source of my inability to truly thrive, to truly have vigor and vitality in my life. Now, I'm not saying this was the only problem, but I'd spent so much time going within to understand the true nature of why I was so messed up in my head, so depressed all the time, and never getting what I wanted, that I had forgotten that healing in the spiritual body takes time to manifest in the physical body. And the way that the the healing reflects in the physical body is through your deeds and your actions, through your ability to display what your values are, what your beliefs are, what works and what you understand in life. I had become so withdrawn and gone within so deeply and looked at every cause and every causation of every injustice I felt in my body that was stored there, that I had not pulled my head out of the sand, so to speak, to truly start planting the seeds that would give me the results that I craved, that I desired. And it wasn't until seeing the deeds of others and how it manifested in their life, the life they had created for themselves, that I was finally able to take responsibility and understand the rest of the three-step process I'm going to share with you today. So that's it. I had seen that inside my soul, that part of me that is a reflection of this physical lifetime in this body, I had these festering abscesses, and I had become very aware of them. And every time I began to take action, to do what I wanted, to really be happy, to make this video, one of those abscesses would come to the surface and break open and create this smelly mess that I had to clean up. It took a lot of energy and effort in the physical realm, in the physical world, which drained me, which reinforced my depression, which had me sitting on the couch, binging something on Netflix, instead of planting the seeds that would make the difference. This was my self-medication process. I finally understood that the world doesn't care about my insights. The world only cares about my actions. And my actions create the karma. And the karma I will harvest. Now, one thing I did, and I want to give myself credit for, but I also want you to understand, there's a Chinese proverb that says, the best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. The next best time is today. So I had planted the tree called meditation and spent most of my adult life trying to tend and care for and develop a right meditation practice. And it was finally coming to fruition that I understood enough about myself. I had medicated for so long and seen the future I did not want, that allowed me to reel things in and decide to plant the next two parts of this process. Well, I think by now you probably have way too much information about what a hot mess I was most of my adult life, trying to do everything for others and never really allowing myself to experience the generosity of my own love and my own actions. So let's look at this three-step process. The three things you need from a spiritual perspective that will enhance any medical treatment you're receiving are: you need a champion, you need a process, and you need displayable skills. A champion, a process, and displayable skills. I call this process the Zen results method. The Zen results method. It's a simple way to start taking charge and allowing yourself to create a life you want. The first champion in my life of consequence was my wife, Amy. And she's still here. She loves me unconditionally. And it was inside of her love and constant reminder that I help others and I contribute so much to others, and her tolerance of my depression and anxiety and inaction and inability to help myself, that allowed me to see that I was lovable. The next champion I have is my friend Carl. Same thing. He's truly a person who wants me to succeed and be well. He's accepted my contributions, and his contribution to me was not to give up, that I was totally hopeless. And then the third group of champions are those who have supported my ministry and my waffling back and forth over the years since I've been ordained, since I was ordained in 2014. So I had these three types of champions that reminded me that my contributions were significant, and patiently waited and loved me until I saw for myself that my own self-value and my self-worth. So your action now is to take an inventory of the people in your life. Who's there? Who's been there? Who will always be there to support you and love you exactly the way you are and exactly the way you're not? Who's pulling for you to succeed, that's pulling for you to find that happiness, to have your eyes light up, to be joyful, to start taking control. I realize that some may not have that group. Some may not have those champions at their fingertips. So consider finding a meetup group, finding a local community, finding something you love to do to connect with, to start to create a group of champions, a group of people who you can be yourself with, contributing and doing what you love doing. Mine was my spiritualist ministry, and my spiritual growth and teaching allowed me to deal with who I was and see that I was able to help others until I was ready to help myself. If you can't find one, you're welcome to join ours. Ours is called the Old Soul Academy, Old Soul Academy. And there's a group on Facebook, or you can go to the website, and we're creating a community there also. The website is oldsoul.academy, oldsoul.academy, or if you're on Facebook, just search for Old Soul Academy and request an invitation in. There are some rules of engagement, but we accept you exactly the way you are and create a safe, quiet, loving space for you to begin to build a community of champions who will be there for you and are pulling for you to start taking charge. The second thing you need is a process. The process is quite simple, but as with most simple things, not at all easy. So the process is right meditation, right thought, right action. Right meditation, right thought, right action. A quick warning for other perfectionists out there: don't get caught up in the word right. For most of my 30 years of meditating, I've really tried to produce right meditation, which means perfect meditation. And meditation isn't about perfectionism. Meditation is about doing the work, sitting in the practice, being there now, doing what it is that meditation is doing, which is observing your thoughts and minds and developing the ability to not attach and run with them. So that's what meditation is. The practice of meditation is the practice. By sitting in practice, that is right meditation. So being a perfectionist who was trained as an engineer, what I've come to understand is right meditation is right now meditation. Right now, right now, right now. The best meditation I can produce right now is a perfectly right meditation. So right meditation, right thought, right action is simply right now, what's the meditation I can produce? Right now, what's the best thought I can produce? Right now, what's the best action I can take? So that's the process. Right meditation, right thought, right action. We call those the 3 R's. As I mentioned, right meditation is the first step. And that's how I self-medicated myself all over the years. I would do my meditation, it would relieve the stress on these abscesses of my soul, and I would get along. Right meditation is the beginning, but it's not the end. There's 2 other parts. And I had fallen into the habit of using meditation as self-medication to relieve the symptoms I was experiencing of depression and anxiety, to have these moments of powerfully starting things, but never really bringing them to fruition or allowing them to complete. So after you meditate and you start to become clear about what's going on around you, the right thought process is the next area. And right thought simply delivers an actionable decision, which then you take action on. And that's the part that had eluded me, is I was doing all the right things, but for the wrong reasons, trying to prove I had common sense and that I could get all this stuff done. But I had never really accepted and loved who I was. Right meditation is stillness meditation. I'll leave a link to my stillness meditation video. Right thought is brought about by journaling, allowing yourself to get out of your head and into existence in the three-dimensional real world, what's going on within you. The beginning focus of your journaling and right thought is answering three questions. And those three questions, once you get an answer to, will create a context for your right actions and allow you to start to move through the inability to get things done. So the three questions are: who am I? Why am I here? And where am I going? Who am I? Why am I here? And where am I going? Until you have answers to all three of those questions. And I will put a little footnote in right here that you don't need the right answer to those questions. You need a provisional answer. You need an answer right now that feels right. And that feels right is really subjective. Right now, at this moment in time, this feels right. This is who I am. This is where I'm going. This is why I'm here. Until you get those three answers, you end up with a stool that's wobbly. If you have two of the three, you're kind of wobbly. If you have one of the three, you're very wobbly. Well, you're kind of lopsided while you're sitting there. But it's getting those three answers, even provisionally, that allow you to create a context for the direction of your life. I got my three answers in 1991. I knew in 1991 exactly that I would be here talking to you someday in a video about how to start taking charge of your depression to create the life you want. It's taken me that many years to bring it to fruition because I was missing the pieces of my development in the areas of right thought and right action. Now, I know this may seem to some of you not very inspirational, not very motivational. But here's the thing I really want you to understand and comprehend. We incarnated here to learn something and do something. And in so doing, we chose parents we felt would bring that about for us. Our level of spiritual awareness makes easier the choices of who we should select as parents. For whatever reason, I chose parents who on both sides of the genetic equation were prone to depression, prone to anxiety. And it was this choice that trained me as a young person to experience life a specific and certain way. So I won't know until I get over there, like over there on the other side, why I chose that and if I did well or if it was a grand mistake or something changed. I won't know that till there. But what I do know is right now, is over the last 3 decades, I've helped a lot of people learn to meditate, learn to start thinking properly, and create a life that worked for them. And by all accounts, my life has worked from the outside, but from the inside it didn't. So that's what we're talking about here, is that deep inner abscess of my soul that kept me from enjoying life because so much of my energy was devoted to healing these things. And I was trying to do that strictly through meditation and not understanding karma's role in creating and training this beast, this physical body, to be the vehicle for why I came here. The last thing to know about these three questions: who am I, why am I here, and where am I going? These are not like big, life-changing aha answers. They're small, subtle pointers and indicators of your preferences and what feels right. So very few of us come here with some specific purpose, like Mozart, who came here to really change the way we understand and appreciate music and what's possible with the work he did in his music. Most of us are here to learn the giving and receiving of love. And and you probably know by now that the person I had to learn to love was me. And that it was in the face of the future of my closest male relatives that I saw exactly how much I didn't love myself. So the answers you're looking for to these questions are very simple. They're very straightforward. They are not at all complex or grandiose. They're simple ways of thinking, ways of being, and things that bring you joy and happiness once they come to fruition. So that's who you are, why you're here, and most importantly, where you're going. The second purpose of your journal and this process of really understanding right thinking is to begin to track your progress. Track your progress. It's our relationship to the physical world that we are here to experience. We have our spirit self that will live after we die, and that spirit self comes in and incarnates into physical bodies to experience things that we can't truly comprehend on the spirit side. So we're here in a three-dimensional body, in a three-dimensional reality to experience three-dimensional things. And the way we measure three-dimensional things is with our tracking of progress. So I'm going to put it first into my health goals. If you have a health goal, you have to start tracking your progress. Now, my health goal has been to become healthy, lean, and fit. Healthy, lean, and fit. And it was in this journey across northern Arkansas that I realized that to get to healthy, lean, and fitville, I had to do something different because I definitely was not in healthy, lean, and fitville. And I didn't want to go to the place I was most likely going that I saw reflected in my closest male relatives' face and their behaviors and their bodies. To get to healthy, lean, and fitville, I had to track my progress. And the way I decided to do that is I tracked my body weight, my body fat, and my blood pressure. My body weight, my body fat, and my blood pressure. So those are three measures that are objective. Anybody else in the world could verify that my body weight, my body fat, and my blood pressure were quote unquote healthy, lean, and fit. So that is the missing piece for me all these years. See, I was under the veil of my depression, under the veil of my delusions about what would make me happy, ignoring the facts, the measurable facts about where I was and what results I was producing. It was not until I was driving west, watching those miles tick by, and as I was driving west, watching those miles tick by, I was getting 1 mile closer to home. So I was tracking my progress on the odometer, enjoying this beautiful scenery of northern Arkansas, southern Missouri, and heading into Kansas, that it started to all make sense for me. Tracking your progress gives you an ETA as to when you will arrive, but it also confirms you're on the right journey, you're on the right path, you're making progress. And that was a missing piece for me. I was so wrapped up in the abstract thinkings of my mind, I lost connection with a three-dimensional reality of what was going on around me. So once you start tracking progress in your journal, your progress is the reflection of what your actions are doing objectively in the real world. That then informs your thinking process as to whether or not you're making the right progress, as to whether or not you're going to accomplish your goals. Now, this process here was like, boom, the light going off in my head, because I finally started to get a process that confirmed my progress. Whereas before I was so clouded inside of depression and anxiety, I was disconnected from the reality of this three-dimensional real world. I was so disconnected that I would be surprised that rent was due again, that the mortgage was due again. Heck, I just paid it. I was so surprised that I was 50 or 60 pounds overweight. How the heck did that happen? I don't feel that bad. I don't look that bad. The scale told the truth. Some days at the end of my day, I would wonder, did I meditate this morning? It seemed like so long ago. And then almost on a regular basis, Friday already? Heck, I haven't accomplished anything, it seems. You either relate to these WTF kind of things or you don't. If you don't, substitute the things that are kind of a mystery to you, that kind of go by unmonitored and unmanaged in your life. And whatever those are, allow yourself to create a measure, to create a way to understand and track your progress in that area. And it has to be something that's trackable in the three-dimensional world, that someone else can look at and know. Because here's a part that I finally understood, that the depths of my depression were reflected in my eyes and my face. You know, we had this song in Sunday school, if you're happy and you know it, your face will surely show it. But if you're happy and you know it, then your eyes will surely show it. And what I realized about my champions is that my champions were seeing me for who I was spiritually. That light within me that was so caring and loving for others. They were seeing me with their spiritual eyes in their soul, not their physical eyes. And they accepted me for who I was and who I wasn't. And it was their grace that allowed me to finally start to accept myself and accept the three-dimensional realities of my life. Whether your goal is financial or relational or a living situation or a career situation, there are actions and behaviors that you can take that are measurable and verifiable by other people that will indicate you're making progress towards the goal or the destination of where you're going in this lifetime. As you start to track and notice that progress and you become objective and not subjective, what will happen is that fog of depression and anxiety start to disappear because you're regularly planting seeds of karma that allow you to harvest what it is you want. Some of the seeds aren't like a tree that take 20 or 30 years to truly come to maturity. Some things like grasses and tomatoes and smaller things come to fruition very quickly. And it's those day-to-day right actions that are tracked and monitored in your journal through your progress that start to inform you as to what works. And once you dial into what works and you see it objectively in black and white in writing in your journal, today I weigh this, then this, then this, then this. Today I exercised and exercised and exercised and exercised. Today I became stronger and stronger and stronger and could exercise more and more and more. And by seeing that three-dimensional reality reflected in the entries in your journal, it starts to allow you to access the beauty of the 3 R's. Right meditation, get here now, present, see things as they really are. Right thought, think through exactly who I am, why am I here, where am I going, what progress am I making towards where I am going, who am I becoming on the journey to get there, and what actionable decision needs to happen today to bring me one step closer to what it is I want in life. Let's take that action next. The beauty about this whole process is that as you become more adept at taking the right actions, you become more masterful at knowing exactly where that action and step will take you. So rather than a hope and a prayer, which I lived my life for so many years as a hope and a prayer, kind of the diet restitution process, oh, I'm going to go eat whatever I want to this week, this weekend, this year, this decade. And all I have to do is in January start dieting and fix it. then I'll go back. Then as soon as I fix it, I'll go back and eat what I want. But what happens is as you begin to mature your relationship with results, with what you're tracking and the progress you're making, just like my lifestyle of spirituality and becoming a teacher, my lifestyle of health and well-being begins to change the nature of my actions. More importantly, my understanding of how I produce the results I want. So that's how all this dovetails together. Now, here's the harsh part and the harsh reality that I had not been willing to see and accept. I'm still depressed every day. I still face anxiety every time it's time for me to go to the gym. Every time I walk through the grocery store and I walk past those things I love so much, my comfort foods, the things that were my constant companions on the couch as I was binging Netflix, plotting and scheming my next thing that would work. I deal with that every day. But just like any other muscle, any other skill in the physical three-dimensional world, we can become better and better and better at training this beast, the body, to carry out the instructions of a well-trained mind, and that mind gets trained through meditation and right thinking. And then the beast will do what it's instructed to do to take us where we're going. It really is that simple, but again, not at all easy. To wrap up the journaling and really wrap up this whole process of mastering the 3 R's and keeping track of the results that reflect our actions, my journal and my thinking process now has become kind of like planning a trip on Google Maps. So I am here. I want to go here. What's the way I want to get there? And so it's that planning process that allow me to plan the trip and know what I need to do to get there. The more times I take the trip, the more comfortable it becomes. So I allow myself to know how much gas am I going to need, how much fuel am I going to need, how long will it take, what's an estimation, do I need to leave earlier or later? So my journal becomes my Google Maps for my spirit. My body becomes my car or my vehicle to take me where I want to go. This simple shift in understanding for me has allowed me to make this video, to really start to reach out to others to help more people than the few champions who've supported me over the years. So I hope you're finding this helpful. If you are, ask your questions and put your comments down below in the comment section. If you think that this is kind of interesting, who can you share it with? Maybe one of your champions. Or if you are a champion for someone who seems to be depressed, maybe sharing it with them would be beneficial. If you're new here, which you probably are because I'm just getting this sucker going, give us a like, a subscribe, and hit the little bell so you'll know when it's time for us to connect again. It really is a privilege to share with you what I've gone through in my life, helping others, and finally being able to allow myself to direct some of my love and caring within so I can reach and share with more people. So thanks for being here. The third part of the process is creating displayable skills. Displayable skills. What is a displayable skill? Well, if you are a skilled musician, a displayable skill is your ability to play your instrument. If you want to become a professional musician, then you have to be able to display your ability to play your instrument on command when you want, in a way that people are willing to pay to experience. In life, kind of the soft skills that we display are, we start to display our ability to care for ourselves, or our level of self-care. We start to display our level of satisfaction and happiness, our level of fulfillment with the work we do and the relationships we have and our connection with others. Each of these skills reflect our own acceptance and love, our own ability to be sufficient unto ourselves and start to thrive. Just like our musician who has the skills to play their instrument, our musician has practices that allow them to develop, fine-tune, and hone their skills. So in life, to really allow yourself to master the 3 R's process of right meditation, right thought, right action to get the karma or the results you want, to take you where you're going, to express why you're here, and to truly be who you are, there are a set of practices that will allow you to develop the skills of happiness and fulfillment and satisfaction and being fully present in the moment. Those practices that develop the skills are learning to quiet your mind on command. Some people call this being mindful. However, I take this a little bit further because in my experience, being mindful is a byproduct of being quiet. And to be quiet, I want you to imagine a body of water, a pond that's perfectly still, no wind, no nothing, the sun's coming up, and reflected in the quiet surface of the water, which is mirror-like, is the sunrise. That's what I mean by quiet your mind on command. You can get rid of the thoughts and thinking, the thunder in your mind, the winds of your mind, completely quiet to reflect the three-dimensional reality around you. But the cool thing about being able to see a quiet pond is if it's quiet enough, you can see below the surface to see what's below. And once you see what's below, that's your spirit. That's your spirit self. And that's where fun and magic can really happen. The second practice is creating actionable decisions that get you the results you want. Creating actionable decisions that get you the results you want. So I'm going to do a quick illustration of this one. And this is simply me confronting the depression and anxiety that I carry with me for most of my life in my day-to-day commitment to not end up being overweight, depressed, on insulin anytime in the future. So making an actionable decision is I write on my calendar to go to the gym before I have my first meal. I do intermittent fasting. Through the right thinking process, I realized that I had to have anchors, and that's what's what helped me meditate over the years, is I anchor my meditation to different things that happen every day. So I anchor my first meal of the day. I practice intermittent fasting. So before I have my first meal, I have to go to the gym. No gym, no first meal. So that's a decision I made in the planning of right thinking, which I can easily monitor. So before I can take the action of eating, and I really like to eat, that's one of the things that I enjoy more than anything in the life, is eating. You can tell by my body weight that I really like to eat. So before I could take the action I really wanted, which was eating, and my body lets me know when it's empty and it needs food, I have to go to the gym. So that's an actionable decision that allows me to take the steps, the right actions I want to get the fitness part of my goal. Actionable right decisions also affect how I shop. So I've created a plan I found that works for me with my nutrition. I no longer call it diet, but my nutrition, nourishing the beast so it can perform at its best. And that right decision, my right thinking and planning informs what goes into my shopping cart, what I buy. And the only way I found for me to not eat overeat foods that are not healthy for me is not to have them in the house. Because being a basically lazy person, if I want bad food, I'm not going to get up in the middle of the night and go out and get it. I'm either going to do without or getting something healthy. So those are two ways that actionable right decision making works in my life to support my healthy, lean, and fit ambition and goal. The next practice after making an actionable decision is taking that step, taking that action, and doing so with competence-based confidence. Competence-based confidence. So you take your next step confidently knowing that it will take you where you want to go. And that confidence has been informed by your competency in your right thinking department, which is created from your ability to quiet your mind and still your mind on command through right meditation. So that's how the overall process works. So the ultimate display of your skills is a thriving life. So if your life is thriving and you're happy with it and you know you're happy with it and you're on purpose, you're on focus, you know why you're here and who you are and where you're going, and everything you do is aligned towards making that happen, objectively, people will notice that you are a person of integrity, that your life is filled with purpose and meaning, and that you're enjoying your journey. And when those moments of depression and anxiety show up, which for me they still do on a regular basis, I've got a series of actionable decisions pre-made to inform my next action, which I know through competency in my process and knowing why I'm here and who I am and where I'm going, that it'll take me where I want to go. So that's the overall process. Having a group of champions who love and accept you as you are and support what you're up to. Really understanding and mastering the process of the 3 R's, right meditation, right thought, right action. And through mastering the 3 R's, developing displayable skills that show and demonstrate and illustrate an objectively thriving life. So these skills are broken down basically into 2 types of skills. One is mental skills and the other is physical skills, mental skills and physical skills. So the right meditation allows you to start to train the brain, which is part of the beast, to think the way you want to. Also in mental skills is right thought, your ability to think through problems and plan what your next step is and make the choices and decisions to get from where you are right now to where you want to be. Then the physical realm is right action. And right action is what allows you to plant the seeds for future harvest or leverage karma to get what you want. I want to thank you for your attention. I hope you found this helpful. I hope you're still here. And more importantly, I hope that this journey into my mind and my psyche and my awareness and my vibration with all of these freaking abscesses of my soul, which have caused my depression and anxiety, was informative. It helps you decide and make decisions for yourself. That's it. That's the Zen Results method. Simple process that allows you to get where you want to go by knowing who you are, why you're here, and where that destination is. Allows you to leverage those who love you and basically ride on their trust and love of you so you can then start to master the 3 R's to really answer the 3 most important questions in life. Who am I? Why am I here? And where am I going? And track the progress of your journey there. To track your progress in your journal, your Google Maps, if you will, for your own spiritual growth and development in your spiritual journey and path here this lifetime, and allowing you to develop displayable skills which are incontrovertible in the physical 3-dimensional world, that you're happy and you know it your face and your eyes truly show it in an objectively thriving lifetime. This is the first of many of these videos. We're publishing stuff from Spirit 360 Fellowship, the church, my online church. Wednesday is my ministry. So that's the goal and the intention. If you like what we're doing, let us know in the comments. Give us a like. Share this with whoever you know who would benefit from having a process to help them transcend depression and anxiety and start to bring about what they want. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the little bell to be notified. If you like what we're doing and you want to get deeper involved and have us become part of your community, consider joining us at the Old Soul Academy on Facebook. Join us at oldsoul.academy and get on the waiting list for the classes and the communities we're creating there. So that's it. I'm T.S. Hall, the Stoic Medium, and I am here, and I'm happy, and I'm making progress through this fogs and veils of depression every day for one reason and one reason only: to help you answer your 3 questions, and in so doing, further understand and solidify my own understanding. Because my journey is the same as your journey. And even though we're on separate paths towards spiritual perfection, we can walk those paths together. Until next time, my house blessings.